Start your week smiling with your friends, Kathy Zant and Michelle Frechette. It's time to get ready for some weekly motivation with WP Motivate. Happy Friday, Kathy.
Is it Friday?
Thank God, yes.
Why? Okay, so we're recording the Friday, it's June 2nd, right after Memorial Day. We had a nice short week. Why has this been like the longest short week? I woke up this morning, I'm like, it's not Saturday? How is it not Saturday?
It's been ridiculously busy. And I think part of it is that we try to put 5 days of work into 4 days, or in my case, 15 days of work into 4 days, because I was off last week and I'm in Athens next week. So like cram it all those 4 days.
Crazy. It's been crazy. And I am glad it's Friday.
Same. But very much so.
I need
I have a massage scheduled tomorrow. So okay, so first let me tell you this. And I think this actually leads into the story that you wanted to tell too. So as we talked about before, I was nominated as a remarkable woman in my town. As a result of that, somebody that graduated with my daughter, but who I used to mentor, reached out to me. It's been like 10 years, more than 10 years, 13 years, reached out to me and we're still friends on Facebook, but we haven't seen each other in a while. And he's had a lot going on in his life in the last 10 years, relationship wise, work wise, whatever. And he was tentatively reaching back out to see if I was the person he remembered that I was and not nefarious in any kind of way. Like he wanted to still believe that I was as kind and gentle as he remembered that I was. And I like to think I am. So I invited him over for coffee and we sat and had coffee and we had a conversation about his partner, who is a massage therapist. And he said, Gavin really wanted to meet you, but I wanted to make sure that you were who I remembered you to be before I introduced you to my partner. And you are, he said. And Gavin wants to know, Gavin asked, so what does she do? And I said, well, she builds websites. I love that that's like locally, it's like, oh, she builds websites. He wondered if you would trade a website for massage therapy. And I was like, heck yeah. And so it turns out that he's doing in-home massage. So here's the fun part. I spun up his website in exactly like 3 hours. Because guess what I used? Cadence. I made it so easy. And you end up, it's funny because you get to the end and it doesn't look anything like the starter site did, but you have something to build from, which is beautiful. So get gavinonthego.com if you're interested. Anyway, he does in-home massage, so I don't even have to go anywhere. I literally just have to like have enough space for him to set up that table, you know?
Yeah.
And he's a wonderful person. So I have a massage tomorrow. I mean, all of that just to say I have a massage tomorrow in my home and I don't have to go anywhere before I go to Europe. So yes, very exciting. And Gavin doesn't know anything about websites and he doesn't know anything, but now he has a WordPress website. And he has a Cadence WordPress website and it has WS Form on it. And people can say, I'm interested in getting a massage. And it goes and he gets an email and it works like it's supposed to, is basically what I'm saying. So it's an exciting thing.
Amazing. That's great. Yeah.
So, and you had a similar, well, maybe not exactly similar, but tangential experience lately that you told me a little bit about. So tell us about that, because that's a pretty cool experience.
Well, I've actually had a number of experiences like this, but so it just left such an impression on me. I'm coming home from a trip early in the morning and this Lyft driver picks me because I was just like, I'm not dealing with the car at the airport ever again. I did that for WordCamp Phoenix and like, what? New airport that I had never traveled from, Dallas Fort Worth, and it's crazy. No, thank you. I'm not gonna do that ever again. Lyft for me. So I call the Lyft and this guy picks me up. And so I chit chat. So do you drive Lyft full time? No, I'm just doing this part time because I just quit my job and I'm starting my business. I'm like, oh, well, what do you do? And just we get into this, and it's like about a 40-minute drive up here to the country. And he's telling me all about his business. He's got healthy six-figure following on TikTok and he draws. Nice. He's an artist. And so he'll do like live streams where he's drawing and people just show up. He'll get like 30 people showing up and while he draws, and he just talks to them. And sometimes they're new people, and sometimes they're, and then he's doing all these local conventions and everything. And I'm like, oh, well, so are you selling your art online? And he's like, yeah. Oh, what did you use to build it? Wix. Wah, wah. I'm just like, so I'm like, listening, I'm like, so you just quit your job, and like, how long ago did you set up the site? And they ask him all these questions of like, what did led you to Wix? Like, I'm like, did you evaluate Squarespace? And have you ever heard of WordPress? He's like, yes, he's heard of WordPress, but Wix made it so easy, and he saw ads for it, so he decided to go with Wix. And I'm asking him, like, how is he, collecting emails so he can stay in touch with the people that he's meeting who are buying stuff from him, and does he mail to, so I'm asking him all of these questions, and he's telling me about how busy his work is and how it's growing, and he's really thinking it's going to turn into something, and it's very niche art.
Mhm.
I can't find a place where I think it is appropriate for him to switch to WordPress and Cadence. And I just sat there just kind of like, I felt
Hmm.
like completely disarmed. And I was just, I kind of just surrendered, like, how do I be of service to this person? And so
Mhm.
we talked about emails, and we talked about how busy he is. And we talked about getting virtual assistants to maybe like help him do some of the tech stuff.
Mhm.
And I could not find an entree point to get him on WordPress
Yeah.
yet.
Yes.
But I'm finding, well, I'm going there
I do.
eventually.
I do.
But right
Absolutely.
now it's right now there's just like, it doesn't make sense for him. He's got this set up, and he really needs to focus on this trajectory of growth right now, and to get some of his other business processes in place, and it's all good. And we're now friends on Instagram, and so he shows up all the time, and he followed me back so I can message him. It's like kind of cool. But I'm finding more and more people as I kind of do more stuff outside of WordPress. I've got mastermind groups that I'm going to. I'm taking this just on a whim. I signed up for this newsletter cohort thing. Just I'm like, I just want to learn from these people because they're completely out of WordPress. It is nothing related to like Cadence, but I want to see what's going on. And then
Yeah.
people are like, what's WordPress? What, like, I'm like, maybe I'm so myopic, and because I'm in the WordPress community, but it's like there are so many communities outside of WordPress that need to know about WordPress. And it's almost
Yeah.
like I want to go join all of these places and like spread the good news about open source. And
Yeah.
what's this new website builder I've never heard of called Show It, and why is everybody using it? I'm like, I feel like it's like this brave new world of not WordPress, like 20 years. And it's so funny because as he's telling me his story about his business and how he's using Wix, I'm sort of half on my phone, like catching up on Twitter because I'd been off it all of last week. And everybody's like, oh, WordPress 20th. And I'm just like, okay, I'm paying attention. There's something going on here.
Yeah.
So I'm really motivated to talk to more people outside of WordPress who have
Mhm.
online businesses, who are growing online businesses, and
Mhm.
why are they making the decisions that they're doing? I'm
Right.
in this like discuss. It's not even like I have to do this market research because of work stuff. It's just like I'm so like intellectually curious of like, what are they doing and why? It's
Yeah.
so fascinating to me
Yeah. It is interesting
because
for
they don't
sure.
have people like us to, yeah.
To tell them
Like,
the right way to do it.
Gavin had you.
Right.
Right. But, like, Gavin is very lucky to have found you where you could, like, guide him into making a decision where
Mhm.
he's now got a site that if, his hosting provider doesn't help him, he can move, right? But with
Right.
Wix, like,
You
my
can't.
friend,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
that the switch is such a
Mhm.
insurmountable task. I don't know how you would do it, but
Yeah.
I'm really like I don't know why I'm so like super curious in this other world of why are you choosing other stuff? Like,
Right. What's interesting is though, like, I actually have a chapter in my book about it's not even about this, but it's about like customers and making sure that you're a good fit with your customer and they're a good fit for you. I don't remember what I titled it because I'm exhausted, but anyway, that's basically what it's about. And I had a phone call once in my freelancing days where the person called me and she said, we have a mutual friend, Carl, who recommended you to build a new website. And I said, oh, that's great. She says, how much do you charge? I mean, we can't just give a blanket a number, right? Because I don't know what you need on your website, lady. I said, well,
Right.
it really depends. I said, it depends how many pages you need and whether it's e-commerce or not e-commerce. Or she said, well, if it was just a basic website, like what's the base figure you would charge? And this was quite a few years ago, so don't cringe when I tell you the number. But I was like, well, for just a very basic website, it would be like $1,000. And she says, oh, wow. You must be really good at what you do, but it's not in my budget right now. And I thought that was a very kind way of saying it because I had an experience later that same day where somebody cursed me out for the same information. But I said to her, well, until you're ready to, until you have the money to invest in working with somebody who can build you a big website, you can always use a Facebook page, or you could use a do-it-yourself like a Wix or at the time Weebly, right? And she's thanked me
Yeah.
for my information. And I said, well, I may be back to you in a year when I've got some more money. And I said, that'd be great. And at the end of that, I thought, what's interesting is, yes, she absolutely could have a WordPress website, but she doesn't have the money to do it right now. She doesn't have the know-how to do it right now. And for us in WordPress, it's like if you only have a hammer, every problem looks like a nail, right?
Yeah.
And so we think that WordPress is the solution for absolutely every single situation. And yes, it could be, but not necessarily for every person who wants to build a business website. Blog, absolutely. Go to WordPress.com. You can build it. And yes, I know of those who are listening,
Yeah.
you can build a business website through WordPress.com also. I get all of that. But the whole idea is that it doesn't necessarily have to be WordPress for everybody in every situation from square one, because it just doesn't
Right.
work out for everybody that way. And like you said, like
Yeah.
yet he's not on WordPress yet.
Yeah. Well, there's like this continuum of like, okay, drag and drop, Wix, whatever. I haven't used Wix that much. I tested it like once just to kind of see what it was,
Yeah.
but I don't know exactly how easy it is really, but according to some people, it's like the easiest thing. So it's easy on someone else's land versus like a web server bare metal in a data center that, you can go right up to the machine and
Mm-hmm.
it's an actual server. And you are installing everything yourself. You're like downloading the MySQL database and you're doing everything.
Yeah.
Or so there's like this
Mm-hmm.
continuum. And I don't know. I mean, I've been in that place with the server website
Sure.
and straight HTML. And I think every person is on this continuum in some place, versus, where does it go? Like, I've got my server, I've got a DigitalOcean droplet with a few sites on it, and I use Spin Up
Mm-hmm.
WP to like manage things, but I still have to SSH and do Linux
Yep.
updates and stuff because I
Mm-hmm.
torture myself. So like that's over here. And then you've got people over here who just I don't want to know how the internet works. Just like do it for me and I don't
Mm-hmm.
care and it doesn't matter. And WordPress can fit in a number of different places on that continuum too. And so I don't think there's like a right answer for everyone. Like everyone needs to be here right in the middle because that doesn't make sense, right? Every
Right.
website is different, every person is different, every organization is different. But I mean, I also remember cases where there was one website, God, it was like a recipe blog, and it was taking off, and the site was crashing all the time because it was on shared server and it just
Yeah, it
wasn't
just didn't have
working.
the space. Yeah.
Right. And it just could not handle the traffic that was coming at it. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember this woman writing about it. It was many years ago. She was writing about how difficult it was and how she had to hire a team to like move it for her and get it to the right kind of hosting environment. But it was on WordPress. And so it was easy to just like fix that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think WordPress is so flexible. I think that's the one thing where Wix, you're locked in.
Yep.
It's Wix.
Yep.
There
I
you go.
I have worked on a few Wix websites over the years. I felt like a
Have
traitor
you?
when I did it, but like I had a cousin who's like, "Hey, can you help me with this on my website?" And I had another organization that was um a women empowerment thing, and I'm like, "Hey, did you need help with your website at all?" And they're like, "Yeah, here's the login." I was like, "Oh man, that's not a WordPress website," but I was able to help them, and because it's simple, it's easy, but you're so locked in to design, you're so locked in
Yeah.
to their ownership of everything that's on your site. You own your URL, you could port that someplace else, but you literally have to copy paste all of your content elsewhere, at least
Right.
in my experience. So yeah,
Yeah.
I yeah, I'm just gonna say, it WordPress is better. That's all. I'm gonna go on the record and say WordPress is better,
Yeah.
especially with Cadence,
If
right? I mean,
right. Well, of course. Cadence, I think, is kind of the best of both worlds, but it's
yeah,
just so interesting to me that there are people who are building there are people who are building businesses. They don't even have a website. They're building businesses on
yeah,
Etsy um
hmm,
or YouTube. They're building stuff on YouTube, and they're even doing community and donations and everything right on
yeah,
YouTube. So it's like, I don't know, it's just so odd to me that nobody, well, I guess it's the world we're living in where people
hmm,
are just like platforms. You build on platforms. You don't
yeah,
need to have your own website. And why would you want to have your own website? Because it's just like something else to take care of.
right.
And
Didn't MailChimp try to do websites for a while? I don't know if that ever took off or not. Like that just popped in my head. Like, don't I remember seeing like, hey, now you can build your website on MailChimp? And remember thinking, but why would you?
yeah. Yeah. Well, now there's all these like newsletters, like the Substacks, and things like
Hmm,
that. Now ConvertKit is coming out with like the creator network type of thing where you can, and I've used ConvertKit as an email service provider forever. So I'm like, all right, I'll bite. Let's see what this is all about. But you like send your mailing and you can make it public. And then you have like your little landing page and all your emails show up there. It's kind of like how Substack works. And I know there's people who are connecting commerce there and like making money just by their writing on their newsletters,
hmm,
and it's fascinating to me. But it's that platform algorithm lock-in. Once you're like building a business on someone else's land, it's if they change the laws and you've built your house in the state of California and taxes are now going up, or um the
yeah,
neighborhood's going bad, you're locked in. There's
yep,
no freedom of movement.
yeah,
And I think that's like the thing where people just, I don't know, open source is freedom. Can we just title
yes.
this episode that?
I like it. I think that's a good title. I mean, you write you're the one who writes the titles in the description, so
Most of
you
the
can.
time.
I'm gonna let you go with that for sure.
Yeah. I don't know, freedom is important. I mean, especially like, you know, censorship. You never know who's going to be in power and who's going
Yeah.
to lock whatever down. You never know. It can change. That's one of the things where I would always say, oh, well, people who would be like, oh, well, I'm glad they're doing this. And I'd be like, just
Yeah.
wait until it's the other side of the aisle doing that. Let's see if you like it then,
Yeah.
because you never know. And so retaining as much of the freedom that we can, I think, is important in
Hmm.
how we publish and how we do
I
commerce,
agree.
how we do commerce.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that I can spin up a website in almost no time. I love that I could take a lot of time to build a website if I want to because of basically the content, right? The content is what takes time.
Yeah.
The site structure is not necessarily as difficult. I mean, yeah, you can spend a lot of time planning it, but you don't have to. But it's the content, especially like I know people that are like, well, I want to do an e-commerce store and I have like 4,000 products to sell. Like, okay, that's gonna take a little while, but here's how you do that. Let me show you how you do that on your own website because I'm not doing that on your website. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I do
Another thing
love.
I love being able to like find a new plugin to
Yeah,
play with. Like, oh, how does this one work? And it's doing the same thing as this other one I've been using, but I want to see
right.
how does this one work, and does it do anything different, or
Yeah.
what's its unique
Hmm.
thing? I
Yes,
love that.
absolutely. Absolutely. And when you talk about the community, can I bring up a project that Marcus Burnett just launched this week? Did you see
Yes.
it? The WP
Yes.
World. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So if you are
Yes.
listening to this and you're in the WordPress space, which we assume you are because you're listening to us, go to the WP World and put yourself on the map. All you have to do, and you can remove yourself if you feel like you need to later, but basically you're just asked to put in your city and where in the world you are. So in the United States, we city state, of course, but and country, but anywhere in the world, you can put a pin on that map and you can go there and see. I think he's got almost 500 people on there already.
Yeah.
Where people
Yeah,
all over
I
the
was
world
on-
are.
I was looking at it this morning and I'm like, because there's like almost 12,000 people in the Cadence group now,
Yeah.
Facebook group. And I'm like, I want that for Cadence. I want to know where everybody is who's using Cadence. So
Yeah.
it got me inspired to do something like that. Like if I've ever had
Free time.
me with the big ideas, me needing a clone or two, and
Yeah,
a clone
same.
for Ben too.
Yeah, clone for a bunch of us. Can I have a whole fleet of clones, please?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Definitely though, but it's a cool thing, and it just does remind you that, as small as we are individually, this community is very global and very amazing. And
And
there are
very
people
diverse.
very diverse, and that there are people probably nearer to you than you think, and also people absolutely on the other side of the world from you, and we're all part of this community, which I think is great. And yes, we all love WordPress better than Wix, but be kind to your Wix users. They may be tomorrow's WordPressers.
They probably will be, because I mean, can Wix really scale and give you all of the extensibility? It just never will. So
No, for
eventually
sure.
everybody's going to end up WordPress
Yeah,
or writing their own HTML. I know those people are out there.
they are. I did one site that way in college because I had to. And ever since then, I'm like, nope. Be a good CMS. That's not coding anything. Oh, too funny. Well, Kathy, we don't have an episode next week because I will be in
No.
Europe and I won't have the
Opa.
time to break. I know, right? I will eat some Kalamata olives for you next week and have some Mediterranean
get some
food.
saganaki. Please have saganaki somewhere, just like the flaming goat cheese.
Oh, I'm like, I don't know what that is, but now I want it. Yeah.
Oh, you have to have it. Yeah. It's like an appetizer and they like set it
Ooh.
on fire, and it's kind of like a melted feta cheese, but it's got more like fat content in it. So it's like
Mhm.
super yummy. Yeah.
Oh, I
my gosh.
definitely want some.
I tried to do a Greek feast when I was in Orlando, but something didn't. So it just turned into sort of an Italian thing. I didn't get the Greek part of it done. It just
Oh, no.
kind of fell through. But yeah,
Yes.
I'm all about the Greek food. I cannot wait to follow along on. I wish I could go, but not this year. I will hopefully come next year, but
Yeah.
I'll live vicariously through you and everybody else that's going.
I'll be tweeting, so you can.
Amazing.
I may even message you every once in a while and say, "Hey, guess what? Check out this thing I just did.
Awesome.
Look at these ruins." And look who I just got to hug that I've known for years and never met in person. So all those things. Those will all be on Twitter. Looking forward to it. So but we will be back the week after. Who knows what we'll be talking about by then? It's up to our whim. Some days we don't even know till we start talking and words start spilling out of our mouths. Like today. Which is all good. Which is all good. All good. Well, if you've hung in this long, we love you. Thank you. You I always like to say, like, whichever one listener is still listening, we love you deeply.
There's more than one. There's a few, I'm sure of it.
I'm sure there are. And we do appreciate that you hang in there every week with us and look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. We'll see you then. Thanks.
Bye.
This has been WP Motivate with Kathy Zant and Michelle Frechette. To learn more or to sponsor us, go to WPMotivate.com.